Have you ever asked yourself, what in the hell is going on with interest rates today?
Blake asks myself that almost every single day.
Which is unfortunate, but we want to thank you for listening in today because we're going to take a deep dive into these interest rates. And officially, this is the Big D Buzz with the 4H Realty Group.
And I'm Ashley Wilburn with Fairway Mortgage. Let's kind of dive into where we were and where we're at today. So during COVID, interest rates were the lowest we've ever seen them. And the reason for that was we've never experienced anything like COVID before. The bond markets were scared. There was a lot of unknown of what was going to happen. So because of that, the market was reacting very negatively. Well, bad news in the bond markets, stock markets, are great news for interest rates. So because there was a lot of unknown, interest rates just hit rock bottom, which was so great. So let's fast forward to where we are today. Rates are still not favorable. We'll use that term. They're still a little bit on the high side, and that's because inflation is still here. The government is really wanting inflation at 3%. If we could get inflation down to 3%, we would start seeing our interest rates come down. We're just not there yet because we're still spending money on cars, vacations. People, instead of budgeting and seeing how expensive groceries and everything else is, we're now putting it on credit cards. So now our credit card debt is really, really high. So interest rates are not moving because we're still spending money and inflation is still really high. So that turns into where we're at in the market today. People are not buying as many homes right now because of the rate. So that turned the housing market to what? A buyer's market.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think it kind of, sucks right now. And I think everybody's just kind of used to being broke right now, And so it's one of those things, I might as well be broke and happy than broke and sad, right?
Yeah.
And still live life. That's kind of where we're at. And so, but with that, I still want to say that it is still possible to buy a house. There's many ways to do that. And what you need on your side is a team of experts, right? Who aren't just going to open the door for you and be like, yeah, go ahead, take a look, tell me if you like it. You need somebody that's actually knowledgeable about the market and knowledgeable about the local market and the houses you're looking at. Because what we're seeing right now is sellers have to be competitive, right? Because there's more homes listed than there are buyers wanting to purchase homes. So what we've been seeing, and this has happened, there's a couple live cases that we can talk about where we've seen sellers actually offering concessions, which is money out of their pocket to help buyers buy down rates, right? And there's a couple different routes, and I'll let Ashley kind of go into that a little further. But what that does is it helps affordability while the interest rate's a little higher, and then it gives you a couple years in order for rates to come down to where you can refinance to make it a little more comfortable for yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, one of the other things that we're starting to see is a lot of Fed members have been saying we would not see the unemployment rate above 4.1%. We actually hit that 4.1% this month. Our unemployment rate, or the unemployment numbers came out just a couple of days ago, and we were at 4.1. We're still hearing of layoffs, so next month, if that number is over the 4.1% mark, typically that makes Fed lower rates. So we could see rates start lowering as early as the next few months, which would be great. But what's going to happen is when rates do come back down, we're still in an inventory shortage, right? Like right now you are seeing homes that are on the market, but if we had decent interest rates, there's not enough houses out there for buyers. So kind of like what Blake was saying, the sellers understand the market right now too, and so they're giving money out of their pocket to make it more affordable for buyers to buy homes. So with the buy down, they can actually buy down your rate 2 points. So if rates today were, let's just say 7.5%, for the first year, we could get the seller to buy down your rate permanently for 1 year to 5%. We've done that together with a lot of clients, and it really does help affordability. And then whenever rates do drop, then we just refinance. And then you've got the house, you've got the good rate, you've got the lower payment. So it really does help buyers, and it is a buyer's market because sellers are offering those huge concessions. They're offering to repair things that are on inspection reports. During 2019 to 2021, you could give a seller an inspection report and they would say, I'm not fixing anything because I've got a line of buyers at the door wanting to buy my house. I don't care. It's not like that right now. So you're getting a better deal. You can artificially buy down your interest rate for a couple of years until they do come down. Sellers are willing to take money off the top of the sales price. They're fixing stuff around the house. It's really a good time to buy. And I think Blake and I were talking about people that you grow your most wealth owning a home. And that's just facts. Your home will always make you money no matter what.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that right now, it is an election year, so you hear both sides and you don't know what to believe or what not to believe. There's so many false headlines and clickbait going around that nobody knows what to believe anymore. But if you listen to the experts that are actually in the field every day, doing this day in and day out, if you're not buying a house because you're worried about the housing market crashing, they're saying that's not going to happen. There's a big difference between your value depreciating and it appreciating at a slower pace, right? Which is what we're seeing. Obviously, houses appreciated at a crazy pace during COVID, right? And it wasn't healthy for the market. So all we're seeing now is the market kind of balancing itself out and houses are actually coming back to the prices where they should be. So people feel like, oh, I'm not gaining any equity. No, you are. It's just at a slower pace and at a pace that the market can actually handle. Nobody could handle the pace when your house is appreciated 15% a year. That's crazy. And so that's kind of how we're trying to get this back, the market back balanced. That's really all this is.
And the difference between the crash in 2018 versus the market is going to crash now is if you go back 30 years from 2018, you will see that there were not a lot of births 30 years ago. So the average homeowner that purchases their first home, they're around 30 years old. So there wasn't as many buyers in 2018. That was also when we didn't have regulations and we had things called stated income, stated assets. So if you filled out an application and Blake, you told me you made $500,000 a year, cool, you made $500,000 a year. So a lot of people were purchasing homes that they didn't qualify to buy. We don't have that today. There is not going to be any sort of housing bubble or housing crash because there's still not enough inventory for buyers. There's still not enough houses.
So all this to say is if you're in the market or if you're at least thinking about getting in the market, there's still ways that we can help you. We have several deals closing this month and previous months, and just about all the sellers, we've been able to negotiate seller concessions for this interest rate buy down. It's kind of normal right now, and people kind of expect it, and they're okay with that. So, like I said before, it's still possible. I don't want you to feel, that you're stuck renting or whatever position you're in, because there's ways out of that. And we're here to help you, obviously, which is why we have a team of experts, and we feel that you need somebody that is knowledgeable in all these different aspects, because this is a big financial transaction, right? It's probably one of the biggest financial investments that people make of their life. So you don't want to just trust anybody with that, or at least me. I don't want to. There's too much money at stake, and people get sued over these contracts all the time. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm going to segue into our next episode, if you will. I know one of the big myths out there is that you have to have 20% to buy a home, and that's really not true. Some of our buyers actually got money back at title. They didn't even bring $1 to the closing table. So I'm just going to kind of segue that into our next episode, that we do have lots of tricks, tips, and programs to make it affordable to buy a house, because I know a lot of people think you need thousands of dollars to be able to do that, and you don't. You just got to know the right people and the people that have all the things to help you get into that first house.
Exactly. So before we jump off today, I do want to remind people we do have a giveaway going on right now. We know the economy's hard and families are struggling. So we want to give back and just give your family a chance to have, a good day, right? Bring some happiness to you. So with that, Jared Gines is putting on the Blaster Battle. It's at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, which is an amazing place if you've never been there. He rents out the whole place, and this event is phenomenal. So if you know of a family who's going through a hard time or a hardship, they could use a day off, they could use a relief from whatever they're going through, you can text us at least my number is 972-955-5019.
And mine is 214-507-7631.
You can also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Feel free to message us through there. And yeah, we continue to have these talks and be vulnerable, right, with what we're going through personally, but also just so you understand kind of where we're at and you can find truth in it, right? So if you don't mind subscribing, we would really appreciate that as well. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.